A lonely, mature cowboy gave shelter to an 18-year-old Apache woman during a storm, but neither expected that a few days of kindness would change her life forever. Was it love, or something even deeper? Watch till the end to discover a powerful story of hope, respect, and new beginnings. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and support the channel. In the wide open lands of Arizona, 18-year-old Ayanna lived with her Apache tribe. She was known for her quiet spirit and strong heart, but deep inside she carried questions she never spoke aloud. Her tribe respected tradition, and everyone's future seemed decided before they were old enough to choose. Ayanna completed her daily work without complaint, yet she often stood at the edge of the hills and wondered what existed beyond the horizon. One evening, dark clouds gathered unexpectedly across the desert sky. While collecting water near the rocky slopes, strong winds and heavy rain arrived suddenly, leaving her with no safe way home. As the storm grew stronger, Ayanna guided herself through the rain and noticed a small ranch in the distance. The wooden house stood alone beneath the grey sky. She hesitated, knowing strangers were rarely trusted, but the cold forced her forward. The ranch belonged to Daniel Carter, a mature cowboy who had spent years building a quiet life after losing much of what once mattered to him. When he opened the door and saw the exhausted young woman standing outside, he said nothing dramatic. He simply welcomed her in, gave her dry blankets, warm soup, and a place near the fire. The first night passed in silence. Daniel never asked questions she didn't want to answer. By morning, the storm had not ended, and he offered her a horse blanket and breakfast before returning to his work. Curious, Ayanna watched him repair fences and care for the animals. His life seemed simple but peaceful. Over the next few days, she helped with small tasks around the ranch. Their conversations remained respectful and careful. Daniel spoke about patience, responsibility, and how difficult years had taught him to appreciate ordinary moments. Ayanna listened and slowly felt a strange sense of calm she had never experienced before. For the first time, Ayanna noticed that kindness could exist without expectations. Daniel never tried to change her or tell her who she should become. He treated her thoughts seriously and encouraged her to think about the future she wanted rather than the one others imagined for her. One evening, they sat outside watching the sunset spread orange and gold across the Arizona plains. Daniel quietly said that every person deserved the chance to decide what kind of life gave them peace. Those words stayed with her long after the conversation ended. Days later, when the roads became safe again, Ayanna prepared to leave. Standing beside her horse, she looked back at the ranch and realized something had changed inside her. She understood that what she admired was not the cowboy himself, but the feeling of hope she had discovered while staying there. Daniel had shown her respect, patience, and the possibility that life could hold more than fear and obligation. As she rode back toward her people, Ayanna carried no promises and no plans, only a new belief that her future could belong to her. When the storm finally ended, the skies above Arizona turned clear again. Ayanna stood outside Daniel's ranch house and looked toward the distant hills where her people lived. She knew it was time to return. Daniel quietly prepared his horse and offered to escort her part of the way without making it feel like an obligation. The morning air was cool and neither of them spoke much at first. The silence between them felt comfortable rather than awkward. As they rode across the open land, Ayanna realized she was no longer thinking about leaving with fear, but with a calm she had never known. After some time, their conversation slowly became more open. Daniel spoke about his younger years and how life had not turned out the way he once imagined. He explained that losing people and facing difficult seasons had taught him not to chase control over everything. Ayanna listened carefully and then shared something she rarely admitted aloud, that she often felt her future had already been decided by others. Daniel did not interrupt or offer quick advice. Instead, he told her that many people spend years trying to become who others expect and forget to ask themselves who they truly want to be. The journey continued through endless plains and dry trails until the outline of her tribal lands appeared in the distance. Ayana gently slowed her horse and looked ahead in silence. For a moment, she didn't want the ride to end. She turned toward Daniel and thanked him, not for shelter or food, but for treating her with respect. She told him that during her stay, she had learned something important. Kindness does not always come with conditions. Daniel smiled quietly and said that strength is not found in leaving where you came from, but in choosing your own direction with honesty. When they finally reached the place where their paths separated, neither made promises they could not keep. Daniel tipped his hat and wished her well. Ayana watched him ride away until he became a small shape against the wide horizon. Returning to her people felt different now. The land had not changed, but she had. She continued helping her tribe and honoring her traditions. Yet she no longer believed that her future belonged entirely to expectations. She started speaking more confidently and trusted her own thoughts instead of hiding them. Years passed, and life carried Ayana through many seasons. She became known not only for her quiet spirit, but also for her wisdom and steady heart. Sometimes during peaceful evenings, she remembered the storm that had once seemed like a disaster. She remembered the cowboy who had asked for nothing and offered simple kindness. Looking back, she understood that what stayed with her was not romance, but the belief he had awakened inside her, that hope can appear unexpectedly and that a single act of respect can change someone's life forever.